Hey everybody, let's just say that you have two cells, one with a first name and one with a last name, and you want to merge it into one cell that has both of those words together. You're going to want to use what's known as the concat function. So in order to do this, we're going to click on the cell that we want the merged cell to appear in. And I'm going to double click into it so that I see the cursor appear. And then I'm going to start by typing out equals concat. And that's the basic syntax of this function. And then in order to get it going, we're going to open up a parentheses, and you'll see that Excel has begun to prompt us with some questions. So the concat function is super straightforward and easy to use. The first thing that you can see is it's asking for text 1. And what this means is it wants you to select the first cell that you want to be merged. So in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click the first name, which is A2 in this instance. Then, once I'm finished with that, I'm going to type comma, and then Excel is going to prompt me to put in text 2, which simply means add whatever the second cell is. So in this instance, I'm going to click, of course, B2, and then I've got two options from here. I could hit comma, and of course Excel is going to ask me to do a third cell if wanted, and I could keep doing that indefinitely with as many cells as I wanted, or you're just going to close the parentheses. You'll see that the prompts disappeared, meaning that Excel has all the information that it needs, and then you can click enter. And you can see that Excel went and merged the two cells together. Now you'll notice when Excel returned the value, it returned George and Washington together as one word. It didn't put a space in between. And many times you're going to want to have either a space or a comma or some sort of symbol in between the two cells that you are merging together. Now to do this, you're going to go through and start your concat function like normal. So I'm going to type A2, or you could click on cell A2, comma. And now before I click the second cell, I'm going to put in a quotation, space, and then I'm going to close the quotes with another one, and then I'm going to click comma again. What I've done here is I've told Excel to put a blank space in between the first word, which is A2, and the second word, which is B2. You could see whatever symbol I put between the quotations, Excel is going to return. So in this example, when it's just blank, I'm going to close the parentheses, click enter, and you can see that there's now a space between George and Washington. Or if I felt like it would be better, I could put a forward slash and click enter, and now Excel is putting that. You'll notice that you don't want to simply just put the symbol in without quotation marks. You want to make sure that whatever you're adding that's just free text has quotes in between them. So let's just say you want to concat a huge list of items. Like for example, cat equals, and we'll drag it down A2 to A15 and close the parentheses and hit enter. When we do this, you'll see that we get a big list of names. And let's just say that we want a comma in between every name. And we know that we could go through and we could say A2, comma, and then create a comma, of course, and then click, the next one, which is A3, and so forth, and then do it that way. But let's just say that we really, really wanted it to be more automated than that. We wanted to just highlight like we did before, and we wanted a comma in between every single name. There's a way to do that, and we're actually going to combine two different functions. So first off, you're going to want to go in and type in equals concat, and then open up the parentheses like we did before. Now, instead of selecting the range that we want to use, we're going to actually type in another function. We're going to type transpose. So we're nesting the transpose function inside of the concatenate function. But don't panic yet. This doesn't need to necessarily make sense. You can just follow along and you'll be able to edit this how you need it. So we're going to do the transpose function like I said, and then add another open parentheses. From here, we're going to want to select the range of data that we want, similar to how we did before with just the concat function. So I'm going to do A2, I'm going to drag it down just to A15, And then when I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and close the parentheses. Now you'll see that I'm closing the parentheses technically just on the transpose function. And this is where it's going to get a little bit crazy. We're going to go in, make sure, or go ahead and make the and sign. And then I'm going to open up a quotation. I'm going to put a comma in it, but you could put anything. And then I'm going to close the quotation, close the parentheses, and I'm going to hit enter. And you can see when I did that, I got a comma in between every single name that we listed. So I'm going to click back into this so we can kind of just dissect what's going on here. You don't need to necessarily understand what's going on and how it's working, but you do need to know what data I'm inputting and where I'm inputting it. And for that, it's pretty straightforward. You can see inside of the transpose parentheses, we'll call them, is where you put the range of data that you want listed, similar to before. And then outside of it, after the and sign, you can put whatever you want to appear between each item in the range inside of the quotation marks. So you can see that I put a comma here, which shot out the values that we see in a list right here. But just to prove my point, I could put a / and hit enter, and it's going to send all the values out the same way as before with just a different symbol.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and put any questions for future video topics in the chat below. Thanks again.